Song of Songs, chapter 6. Where has your love gone, most beautiful among women? Where has your love turned, so we may seek him with you? My lover went down to his garden, to the beds of balsam, to graze his flocks in the gardens, and to gather lilies. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He browses among the lilies, claiming the bride's beauty. You are beautiful, my darling, like Tirzah, lovely as Jerusalem, awesome as an army with banners. Turn your eyes away from me, for they overwhelm me. Your hair is like a flock of ewe-goats descending down from Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of ewes that have come up from the washing. Each of them has a twin, and none of them is missing. Your temple is like a slice of pomegranate behind your veil. There are 60 queens, 80 concubines, and young women beyond number. Yet my dove, my perfect one, is unique. She is her mother's only one, a virtuous child of the one who bore her. Maidens saw her and called her blessed. Queens and concubines praised her. Who is this that appears like dawn, as beautiful as the moon, bright as the sun, awesome as an army with banners? I went down into the garden of nut trees to look at the fruit of the valley, to see if the vine had budded or the pomegranates had bloomed. Before I was aware, my soul set me among the chariots of my princely people. Song of Songs, chapter 7. Come back, O Shulamite. Come back, that we may look upon you. Why do you gaze at the Shulamite like the dance of Mahanaim? How lovely are your sandaled feet, O nobleman's daughter. The curves of your thighs are like jewels, the work of a craftsman's hand. Your navel is a round goblet, it may not lack mixed wine. Your belly is a heap of wheat enclosed with lilies. Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle. Your neck is like an ivory tower. Your eyes are pools in the Heshbon near the gate of Bath Rabbim. Your nose is like the tower of Lebanon, overlooking Damascus. Your head crowns you like Carmel, and the hair of your head like purple. The king is captivated in its tresses. How beautiful and how pleasing you are, O love with your delights. Your stature is like a date palm, and your breasts are like its clusters. I said, I will climb the date palm and take hold of its fruit. May your breasts be like the clusters of the vine, the fragrance of your breath like apple. The bride's appeal. May your mouth be like the best wine, going down smoothly for my beloved, causing the lips of sleepers to speak. I am my lover's, and his desire is for me. Come, my beloved, let us go out into the field. Let us spend the night in the villages. Let us go out early to the vineyards. Let us see if the vine has budded, if their blossoms have opened, and if the pomegranates have bloomed. There I will give you my love. The mandrakes have given off fragrance, and over our door is every choice fruit, and new and old, both new and old, that I have stored up for you, my lover. Song of Songs, chapter 8. Oh, that you were like a brother to me, who nursed at my mother's breasts. If I found you outside, I would kiss you, and no one would despise me. I would lead you and bring you into my mother's house, she who has taught me. I would give you spiced wine to drink from the nectar of my pomegranate. Oh, that left his hand were under my head. Oh, his left hand were under my head, and his right hand embraced me. I charge you, daughters of Jerusalem, do not arouse or waken love until it so delights. Protecting love. Who is this coming up from the wilderness, leaning on her love? Under the apple tree I roused you. There your mother travailed with you. There she who was in labor gave you birth. Set me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as death, and jealousy is as cruel as Sheol. Its flames are the bolts of fire, the flame of Adonai. Many waters cannot quench love, nor rivers wash it away. If one give all the wealth of his house for love, it would be utterly despised. We have a little sister still without breasts. What shall we do for our sister on the day when she is spoken for? If she is a wall, we will build on her a turret of silver. If she is a door, we will fence her in with cedar plank. I am a wall, my breasts like towers. Thus I have become in his eyes, as one bringing shalom. Solomon has a vineyard at Baal Hamon. He entrusted the vineyard to caretakers. Each was to bring his fruit, 1,000 pieces of silver. My very own vineyard before me. 1,000 are for you, Solomon, and 200 for those who tend the fruit. You who abide in the gardens, friends are listening for your voice. Let me hear it. Come quickly, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountain of spices. Ruth, chapter 1. Elimelech's family in Moab. It came to pass in the days when judges were governing, there was a famine in the land, and men who went from the town of Bethlehem in Judah to dwell in the region of Moab with his wife and two sons. The man's name was Elimelech, his wife was named Naomi, and his two sons were named Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem and Judah. They came to the region of the Moab and remained there. Then Naomi's husband Elimelech died, so she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women. One was named Orpah, and the second was named Ruth, and the 2 dwelt there about 10 years. Then those 2, Mahlon and Chilion, also died, so the woman was left without her children and her husband. Then she got up along with her daughters-in-law to return from the region of Moab, because in the region of Moab she had heard that Adonai had taken note of his people and given them food. So she left the place where she was along with her 2 daughters-in-law, and they started out on the road to return to the land of Judah. So Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go, return each of you to your mother's house. May Adonai show you the same kindness that you have shown to the dead and to me. May Adonai grant that you find rest, each of you in the house of her own husband." Then she kissed them and said, and they wept loudly, "No," they said to her, "we will return with you to your people." Now Naomi said, "Go back, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Do I have more sons in my womb who could become your husbands? Go home, my daughters. I am too old to have a husband. Even if I were to say that there was hope for me and I could get married tonight and then bore sons, would you wait for them to grow up? Would you therefore hold off getting married? No, my daughters, it is more bitter for me than for you, for the hand of Adonai has gone against me." Again they broke into loud weeping. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. She said, "Look, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Return along with your sister-in-law." Ruth's covenant with Naomi. Ruth replied, "Do not plead with me to abandon you, to turn back from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May Adonai deal with me, and worse, if anything but death comes between me and you." When she saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she no longer spoke to Ruth about it. So the 2 of them went on until they arrived in Bethlehem. As soon as they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole city was excited because of them. And the woman asked, "Is this Naomi?" "Do not call me Naomi," she said to them. "Call me Mara, since Shaddai has made my life bitter. I went away full, but Adonai has brought me back empty. Why should you call me Naomi, since Adonai has testified against me, and Shaddai has brought calamity on me?" So when Naomi and her daughter-in-law Ruth, the Moabites, returned from the region of Moab, and they arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Ruth chapter 2, gleaning in Boaz's fields. Now Naomi had a relative of her husband's side, from Elimelech's family, a prominent man of substance, whose name was Boaz. Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Please let me go out to the field and glean grain behind anyone in whose eyes I may find favor." Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." So Ruth went out and gleaned in the field behind the reapers. She just so happened to be in the field of Boaz, who was from Elimelech's family. Soon after Boaz arrived from Bethlehem, he said to the harvesters, "Adonai be with you." They replied, "May Adonai bless you." Then Boaz asked the foreman of his harvesters, "Whose young woman is this?" "She is the Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the region of Moab." The foreman replied, "She asked, 'Please allow me to glean and gather among the barley leaves behind the harvesters.' So she came and has been working in the field since morning until now, except for a little while she is in the shelter." Then Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen to me, my daughter. Do not go to glean another field or even pass on from here, but stay close to my female workers. Keep your eyes on the field that they are harvesting and follow after them. I strongly order the young men not to touch you. When you are thirsty, you can go to the jars and drink from the water the young men have drawn." Then she fell upon her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, "Why have I found favor in your eyes, that you have noticed me, even though I am a foreigner?" Boaz replied to her, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law since your husband's death has been fully reported to me. How you left your father and mother in the land of your birth and came to a people you did not know before. May Adonai repay you for what you have done, and may you be fully rewarded by Adonai, God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." She said, "May I continue to find favor in your eyes, my lord? For you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your maidservant, even though I am not the one of your maidservants." And mealtime Boaz said to her, "Come over here and eat some bread and dip your piece into the wine vinegar." So she sat beside the harvesters, and he held out to her the roasted grain. She ate until she was full, and some was still left. When she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his workers, saying, "Let her glean even among the sheaves. Do not humiliate her. Also be sure to pull out some grain from the sheaves and leave them for her to pick up, and do not rebuke her." So she gleaned in the field until evening. When she thrashed what she had gathered, there was about an ephah of barley. She carried it back to town, where her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned. Ruth took some out and gave her what was left over after eating her fill. Her mother-in-law asked her, "Where did you glean today? Where did you work? May the one who noticed you be blessed." She told her mother-in-law to whom she had worked with, and she said, "The name of the man who I worked for is Boaz." So Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "May he be blessed by Adonai, who has not stopped his kindness to the living or to the dead." Then Naomi said to her, "This man is closely related to us, one of our kinsmen redeemers." Then Ruth the Moabitess said, "He even said to me, 'Stay close to my workers until they have finished the entire harvest.'" Naomi answered her daughter-in-law Ruth, "It is good, my daughter-in-law." that you go out with the female workers so that you will not be harmed in another's field. So she stayed close to Boaz's female workers, gleaning until both the barley harvest and the wheat harvest were completed. Meanwhile, she lived with her mother-in-law.